Hello to all. We're waiting 2 or 3 minutes for the participants to enter this breakout room, and we'll start our session. Okay, in 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you very much. Hello again. I think we are ready to start our session. I ask Professor Sivan Roy and Preeti Narval to start the presentation named Examining the Impact of Blended Learning Experience on Learners' Engagement and Happiness and the Integrated Perspective of Learners' Satisfaction. Please, Sivan Roy, you have the floor. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Hello, Professor George. Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen with you. I hope it's visible.
It's visible, but not in full screen.
Yes. I think it's.
Everything's okay. Please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. So the topic of my presentation is examining the impact of blended learning experiences on learners' engagement and happiness, an integrated perspective of learner satisfaction. So if we talk about the teaching style and experiences, so it has not been the same since the pandemic. I mean, pre-pandemic, it was totally in-class experience, right? Then during pandemic, 2 years, totally online teaching, right? It has created billion-dollar businesses like Zoom or Teams or Google Meet. But in the last, I mean, during the pandemic, the students, they have, they had the liberty to attend the classes from their comfort zone, from their homes. Post-pandemic, it has been become a bit challenging, but it has provided us the opportunity also. In case now, the concept of blended learning has come, right? Where part of the teaching is happening, in class with the integration of the technological tools. So it's a kind of blended learning thing, right? So the aim of my study is to find out the impact of blended learning experiences on learners' engagement and whether it influences the hedonic and eudaimonic happiness of the learners. I'll show you the framework of the study. That is, if you look at the first factor, that is blended learning experience, then how it impacts the learner's engagement. Then we talk about the happiness, that if a learner is more engaged, whether he is happy or not happy, right? And what aspect of happiness is contributing more towards the learner's satisfaction. Now coming to a bit more about the topic. So post-pandemic era, when educators are searching for diverse routes to enhance engagement of learners, many are hoping that blended learning, a considerate combination of both conventional and online, would be more effective. It was proposed by Professor Halverson. Then again, they found that blended learning offers opportunities for both cognitively engaging learners by critical thinking and thoughtful discernment, as well as contributing to additional learning through emotional engagement by virtue of face-to-face exchanges. Now coming to, we all talk about happiness, right? We seek happiness in our lives, whether it is a professional life or the personal life, right? So the ultimate goal of our lives is to, become more and more happy, right? So I thought to converse this happiness concept in this from the perspective of learners, I would say. So there are two kinds of happiness, right? One is hedonic happiness, another one is eudaimonic happiness. So eudaimonic happiness says that you become happy when you achieve some meaningful goals in your life. This concept was given by the great Greek philosopher Aristotle. But another Greek philosopher named Aristippus, he said that, no, it's not always about eudaimonism. It's not always about, when you are reaching towards meaningful goals, then only happiness is going to happen. It's more towards, he said that, when you pursue towards subjective pleasures, then you are happy. So these two distinct concepts of happiness came. But over a period of 400, 500 years, this whole concept has, collaborated, meaning if you want to be happy, then you need the elements of both hedonism and eudaimonism, right? So now, again, coming to our framework, what exactly we did, we prepared a questionnaire based on we did not find any scale item for the hedonism and eudaimonism for the happiness aspects. So we derived it from the Ryan and Dacey study, which was done in 2000. For the experience, we followed the Breakout et al. Scale items. For the engagement, we followed the Kahn's framework, and then we prepared a structured questionnaire, and then we gathered the data from 5 cities of India. That includes Delhi, NCR, Kolkata, Bangalore, and Bhubaneswar. Then what exactly we did after gathering the data, we purified it and we used the SPSS and MOS. So basically factor analysis was done using SPSS, and then structural equation modeling and the hypothesized relationship were checked by the MOS software. So what we found, the data set, okay, let me tell you the number of the data we collected. The number of the data was about 180, 190. To be precise, it was 186. It was 186 or 187. All right. Now coming to the results and findings, what we found from our results, that experiences, the blended learning experiences, they do have significant impact on the learner's engagement. As you can see, the beta value that is 0.35 and p-value was less than 0.01. Now, learners' engagement also impacted the hedonism, right? 0.42. Eudaimonism, it was 0.30. And when we check the relationship with the satisfaction, it was 0.49 and 0.41. So, but if you look at the results closely, so we can see that, the students, they were more satisfied from the hedonism aspect of the teaching, right? Meaning if the educator makes the studies more fun oriented, more game oriented, the learners would be more satisfied. As you can see, the beta value is 0.49, right? So that was the result and findings. About the general discussion, so we can say that the unique features of blended learning and the multitude ways of compounding human and technological mediated education warrant the evaluation of engagement under diverse situations. At the end, be it a learning experience or life experience, everywhere we are searching for happiness, right? It used to be experience economy, and before that, nowadays people are talking about happiness economy, right? So therefore, we believe that, designing engagement in a way that it caters to the maximum happiness will be the key to obtain maximum satisfaction from the learner's point of view. Educators as well as market practitioners designing the blended learning tools and experiences should keep in mind both the aspects of happiness, that is hedonism and eudaimonism, to impart high quality stimulating learning experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Rai, for this presentation. Are there any questions from the audience? Can I ask one question, Professor?
Sure, Professor.
You talk about hedonic perspective, demonist perspective. This has make me proud because they are of Greek origin. These senses are from Epicurus, Greek philosopher of the Ancients. It's on a more or a modern sense. Is a sense of Epicurus of hedonism.
I just didn't get it, Professor George. Maybe there is some.
There was a Greek philosopher named Epicurus.
Epicurus.
Epicurus. This sense is about hedonism or demonism is from this talks from Epicurus, or it's other senses.
Yeah. So this hedonism, it started from Aristippus. So maybe Epicurus was the disciple of Aristippus. I'm not sure.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor.
Are there any questions? Okay, thank Professor Rai for this interesting presentation. And now it's time from a research team of Professor Hong, Wan, Xie Yang, Ren Hong, Song, and Professor Roy, empowering society 5 through AR/VR applications from Aizu to Japan. Okay. The floor is yours. Which member of the research team is going to present the paper?
They will physically attend the conference, Professor. So they will.
Okay, thank you. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Today I'm here to talking about empowering society 5.0 through AR and VR application. And this is our group member. First part is the concept of the smart city and its importance. Firstly, the application of electronic and digital technology community cities and communities. And secondly, the use of ICT to transfer and working experience within region. And thirdly, embedding information and communication technology in government system. And then is the regionalization of practice that brings ICT and people together to enhance their innovation. In our presentation, there are two main technology. The first one is augmented reality. It is expansion of the user's visual experience and the superimposition of contents and virtual objects. For example, Pokemon Go live event bring more than $300 million to local city economy in 2022. And the other main technology is virtual reality, and it removes people from the physical environment and immerse themselves in the virtual environment. For example, flying, shooting, and other virtual reality games. And then it's talking about Japan is facing the threat of declining population and declining birth rate and aging population, and especially small cities like Aizu or Kamatsu are facing the population collapse. According to the predict, the population of Aizu might drop to 60,000 in 2060. We hope to help Aizu get rid of population collapse by smart city and the advancement of 5.0.
Okay, I'm going to introduce the SWOT analysis. The AR/VR technology has a lot of limitation, but at the same time, it is a new group economy point. I'm going to introduce this part from strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. The first part is the strengths. As you can see in the chart, there are a lot of population working in the tertiary industry. So we believe if we can promote the tourism, welfare, workplace, and then we can achieve economy growth, population growth, and at last, the revitalization of Aizu Wakamatsu. And the second part is the weakness of AR/VR technology. As you know, and for a lot of elders, they have difficulty in learning how to use smartphones. In the AR/VR technology, they will have the same problem. And at the same time, the AR/VR technology will have a more damage for one's assets, and it may be cause some other illness. And the next part is the opportunities. The AR/VR technology is using in a lot of fields, such as machine, medicine, interior design, and industrial design, and so on. And at the same time, if someone just want to play a game or want to watch a sport match, the AR/VR technology will bring them a better experience than the smartphone or the television. And the last part is the third. The AR/VR technology has a high cost than the regular device, and this will lead to high living costs for the people. And at the same time, for now, its low return on investment is a problem. This is the problem need to be solved. And this is my part. Let's move to the next part.
We basically refer to a few papers that can, we believe that it's very important to explain our idea. So the first one is about smart city. So smart city is a urban development vision that technologies can provide a better service to the people, and also on the other hand, the people can better manage the city through all kinds of technology and information. So there are basically 5 fundamental factor in smart city, people, economy, infrastructure, and environment and governance. In this research, we mainly focus on people. So when we talk about people, the first thing come into our mind is Japan is facing a serious aging population problem right now. And according to some prediction about the population trending of Japan, we can see that the children under the age of 14 will by the year 2060 will only have half the number of it was in the year 2020. And however, the population over the age of 65 will by the year 2060 will remain the same. And this will cause a lot of problem. For example, the economy will stop to grow and something like that. So based on these problems, we mainly we will demonstrate our idea from these three aspects: tourism, welfare, and workplace. So in the workplace, in the tourism, here is an application that using VR and AR in a museum, and we can see the possibility of using AR and VR into the whole tourism, because here in Aizu Wakamatsu, the tourism is the main part of the local economy. So we hope to provide the tourists, the people more and more interesting and more special experience. And furthermore, we could maybe create more job opportunity and more income. And as for the workplace, in this research, the authors proposed an immersive 3D video communication system. So it's a screen-like device. When you put it in front of you, when you're having a meeting with someone, you can see the person just sitting right in front of you. And also when you put the device on the side, you can create an office-like environment, just like your coworker sitting right next to you. And this is a research originally from Microsoft Research Asia. So we will probably see this actual product in the market in the next few years. And as we mentioned the workplace, because that right now the population collapse not only happened in the whole Japan, but mainly in the small town in Japan. So that's because many young people looking for job opportunity in the big city. So they are leaving small town like Aizu Wakamatsu. And we believe that if this kind of system or device could be applied in the workplace, people will no longer need to go to the big city. So this could help solve some of the population collapse problem. That's the main point. Then let's move on to Mark.
So in recent years, the Japanese has proposed the idea of Society 5.0, which is integration of various technologies such as IoT, the artificial intelligence, and the various of machinery. The goal is to combining or merging those technology into our daily life as much as possible. So we have found several papers that discuss about the AR/VR technology that has already involving in various fields such as academic, the commercial area, as well as the military training. As you can see here, there's a lot of implementation in the surgery simulation, the cargo ship driving training, as well as the pilot cockpit training session. this kind of the AR/VR implementation, although effectiveness will vary from field to field, but they have the potential upon the further improvements. And talking about the improvement, it has believed that from the sole paper, it has believed that the future development of the AR/VR will be focusing on advancing the devices as well as the software front, where the simulation capability will be improved. And as well as the construction area, it will be focusing on to more code-free environments. The reason for that is for this kind of technology to spread more broadly into the society, and because there's a lot, it's going to facing a lot of people that are not so familiar with the programming. So by developing into more code-free environments, it will make this kind of technology much more approachable for those people. And last but not least, with the development of Society 5.0, and we can collect enough of data to provide more localized simulation, which will give us more immersive and compelling simulation environment. And there's also a paper that's discussed about the AR/VR integration with the several components that are key technology within the Society 5.0, such as the connection of AR/VR devices on the 5G network and the human robot teaming with AR assistant on the training session, as well as the combination of AR and the artificial intelligence, which has to believe it will be the next 5 years major developments directions. So with the above literature scattered, it led us to believe that this kind of technology can fit in with Aizu Wakamatsu very perfectly from the economic point of view, because Aizu Wakamatsu major income from the tourism. The AR/VR can fit into this city very well, and from demographic point of view, by applying AR/VR into the workplace, it can prevent, as we mentioned before, it can prevent the young people from moving away to their hometown to the big city. And this kind of effect won't just limited in the Japan. And as we have seen, there's a lot of field already involving in AR, or involving the AR/VR technology. And be that by improving all these fields implementations, it will subsequently improving the system's well-being.
Hello, Professor. Hello, everyone. I will introduce our project feasibility. The feasibility of AR and VR in ICE can be divided into the following 5 points. In ICE, if we want to set up a company, we should submit a report including this item to the assignment. Next, I want to introduce technology requirement for AR and VR. Hardware that can run VR and AR or other devices that can enhance the experience. Software cost, and that it refers to the cost required for AR and VR software development. Time cost. Time cost design and development of AR and VR devices, and labor cost. If you spend more on labor cost, you can reduce time cost. I think our project has 3 advantages. First is tourism. As it's best known for tourism, there are many history buildings such as the Fukushima Museum that tourists can visit it. But foreign tourists are most afraid of unfamiliar places and language barriers. Using AR can solve this problem very well. So we propose an idea, an AR travel guide app. This app will have ICE tourist information and AR instant text translation. The second is work. Firstly, AR and VR can also improve ICE works environment. Using VR to bring participants to a greater field. Secondly, there are sometimes unexpected situations on the job site, such as a broken factory machine. Use AR or VR for remote technical support. Even if the exit ports are not answered here, you can quickly troubleshoot. Thirdly is education. Students in ICE can see more cultures from all over the world through AR and VR devices. In addition, AR and VR can also help workplace education, and the companies don't have to worry about spending too much on traveling newcomers. We briefly introduce smart cities and AR VR. Observe the social problems that as Welcome Us is facing today, and thwart the swords of AR and VR application. Refer to several papers and propose several possible applications. Yes, that's all. Thank you for your listening.
I want to thank
If you
you
have
for
some
this
questions, you can ask. You can ask more.
interesting. Okay, thank you for all the team for this interesting presentation. Are there any questions from the field?
Oh, sorry.
Are there any questions from the audience?
Sorry, Professor, can you repeat your question?
No, I asked the audience if there is questions about your presentation. May I ask questions? What is the applications of augmented reality or virtual reality in the tourist case about Aizu Wakamatsu?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Do you have any applications of augmented reality or virtual reality for the case of tourism sections in Aizu?
You mean the
Are there any
application?
applications? Are there any applications of AR or VR?
Which page?
Page for AR, VR.
That's not. In the AR/VR application within the tourism part, is the voice.
Oh, voice is close.
Hello, sorry.
Okay, I can hear you. I can hear you now. Please proceed.
Sorry, we have some problem with technical.
Yeah, so you can speak. So in here, the microphone is on. Yes.
So if I understand correctly, your question is about if currently has any application of AR/VR in tourism.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Is there, as far as we found it, there's no such technology being implemented yet. There may.
For example, we hope we can.
Okay.
As we know, there are now applications for AR and VR in Aizu now, but we hope we can use virtual reality and augmented reality to help the tourism can have more fun in Aizu. For example, to introduce the history of the Zuzugaru Castle like this.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. Now it's time for our next presentation. It's from research team with Eleni Papachristou and Elias Gounopoulos, named entitled Evaluating the Data Format Quality of Open Data Government Portals in Southern European Union countries. Please, Mrs. Papachristou or Elias Gounopoulos, you have the floor.
Greetings, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course. Please share your screen.
Starting to.
Let us have the full screen of the presentation,
Yes,
please.
that's what well, I'm supposed to press here. And
If you have the two screens, please share the second screen of the presentation.
okay, is it okay? I
No,
think it's
no.
okay. You can't see the full presentation?
No. Please, from the share screen options of the Zoom, please share the second
Just wait a
screen.
moment, please. I'm sorry, excuse me for that.
It's okay.
Well, when I tried yesterday, it was working from here.
Έχει ένα option όπου διαλέγεις στο screen. Έτσι, το screen διαλέγεις εκείνο που είναι το full screen.
Ελένη,
Ναι,
το κάνεις share screen. Okay.
Έκανα share screen.
Ωραία, και μετά το κάνεις full screen και κάνεις new share από το Zoom.
New share.
So
Okay.
now we speak a little bit Greek. It's probably Greek to you, okay?
It is Greek to everybody.
It's Greek for
Well,
everybody
is it
else but us. Okay, thank you very much. You may proceed.
Okay, well, we have addressed the concept of open government data, OGD, in the context of evaluating the data format quality of all GD portals in southern EU countries. Firstly, we're going to present the background theory regarding open government data, as well as the 5-star deployment scheme for data format classification. Hereinafter is presented the research aim, the methodology applied, and the research results. Finally, we're presenting the conclusions of this research concerning the open data format quality of data available in the Greek, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish governmental portals, as well as the limitations we have faced and the suggestions for future research. Well, the term open data is used to describe freely used, modified, and shared by anyone for any purpose data. Over the last few years, the spread of produced by public sector digital data has led government agencies, organizations, and citizens to realize open government data usefulness. As a subcategory of open data, OGD are data produced or managed by the public sector that are available freely in open formats. The term is described by OECD as a philosophy and as a set of policies that promotes transparency, accountability, and value creation by making government data available to all. For OGD to be useful, they must be available and accessible for everyone at no cost. Moreover, they must have the proper permissions to be reused and redistributed by everyone without any discrimination. Likewise, they must promote transparency and accountability being at the same time applicable in a wide range of sectors. Many international organizations, such as OECD and the United Nations, have developed guidelines and directives to promote open data policies. EU suggests the development of open data portals in order to find easy access to open data for every citizen, encouraging cross-border use. A significant concept of open data is their quality, given that in case of corrupted or even low quality files, it is difficult for any user to extract useful information, jeopardizing this way the credibility of government portals as well. At the same time, the file format of a dataset is quite important, as computers can only process and retrieve data from specific file extensions. Data format quality is a concept of foremost importance for open data. The attributes that determine data format quality and affect the overall quality of open government data are compliance, traceability, metadata, machine readability, and interoperability. Tim Berners-Lee, who is the founder of World Wide Web, initiated as well the Linked Data Project. He suggested a 5-star deployment scheme for linked data that set the standards for estimating data formats quality by specifying certain levels containing each available format type. Every star, that is every level, is described by certain criteria. Consequently, for level 1 classification, the data must be available on the web under an open license, but in any format. That is, they might be in PDF, docs, or everything else. To achieve a level 2, data must be in the form of structured data, which means that they are machine readable. For level 3 classification, data must be in a non-proprietary and machine readable file format as well. For level 4, we must use URIs as identifiers of data, so to denote certain items, enabling pointing at those items by users, such as RDF or Sparkle. And for level 5, data must include links to other data known by the term link to open data. We have a build in this context to proceed to the evaluation of the format quality of open data available in Greek, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish governmental portals. So, our research aims to explore the format quality of open government data of 4 Mediterranean Southern EU countries, that is Greece, Italy, Portugal, and Spain, via comparative analysis of open data format on each governmental portal. The purpose is to examine the available open government data quality in the aspect of their file format. These 4 countries were selected due to their similarities in geographic, economic, and social terms. Due to the lack of similar research in Southern Europe, it is important to examine the OGD format quality in these EU countries, which are not among the digitally advanced countries, you have to say. Well, to fulfill the aim of our study, of our research, we have conducted a statistical analysis of OGD format quality according to Berners-Lee 5-star deployment scheme. As we mentioned before, in the first level, our open license data that are on the web. On the level 2, our structured data forms. For level 3, we need data to be non-proprietary file format. And in level 4 and 5, we need URIs and links to other data. Well, Greece. In Greece, we utilize two different portals as the country has developed a new one in 2022, while we have kept the older version, the other portal, as a repository, resulting in 57,072 datasets. Each data in the new portal is available in CSV and JSON format, which means that 100% of the available data are on level 3. Nevertheless, for the purposes of this study, the total number of available OGD was taken under consideration and measured to evaluate the format quality of Greek open data. As we can see in the graph, the majority of data, 47.40%, are on level 2, while 35.59% of data are of level 1, which shows that Greece has to transform a great amount of data in order to achieve better format quality. Impressive is that there is a 16.24% of level 3, but this is due to the efforts that have been made so to upload machine-readable data in the new portal. Also, we can see that we have a small proportion of level 4 and level 5 data in Greek portals. The most of the available data are in Excel format. Well, Italian Open Government Data Portal hosts a total of 105,570 open data in 57,023 datasets, with most of them corresponding to level 3. As we can see in the graph, level 3 data are of 51.15%. That means that Italy is the only country that demonstrates a very high percentage of this level, of data in this level. Also, Italy has a very high percentage of data of level 4, that is 15.92%. In Italy's portals, the most of data are in CSV format and JSON format files. Portuguese portal has a total of 8,588 open data distributed in 5,684 datasets. Most data, 36.39%, are of level 1, but the percentage level 3 data, that is 29.05%, is quite close, a fact that shows that the country is making an effort to increase OGD's format quality. Level 2 data correspond to 28.25% and 6.32% are of level 4. Portugal has not published any level 5 data. The most common file format is PDF. Spain's Open Government Data Portal has a total of 200,367 open data in 63,791 datasets. Most of data, 50.05%, are of level 3, a fact that shows that Spain not only invests in quantity, but also is trying to achieve a high format quality. Furthermore, we can see that in Spain there are also some data of level 4 and level 5. Consequently, we can say that Italy is the only country among the 4 studied that has a considerable percentage of level 4 data. Furthermore, Italy has the least percentage of level 1 and level 2 data if combined, as a total of 32.86%. As we can see in the graph, level 3 data vary too much over the other formats, and also we have in Italy a great amount of level 4 data. Spain's open government data seems to be oriented mostly towards quantity, though a significant percentage of open data is of a medium-high quality as well. We can see that Spain has got a vast number of data in a level 3 format. Nevertheless, the quantity of level 4 data is not as wide as we can see that it is in Italy. Portugal shows a significant amount of medium-high quality data, showing an effort for updating format quality. Nevertheless, there is a small amount of published open government data in Portugal's portal, which means that we can classify the country as the one with the least available open data among the 4 countries that we have examined. Greece, although has published a significant amount of open data, of course not in comparison with Spain, we can say that it lacks in data format quality, as 82.99% are of levels 1 and 2. Nevertheless, in the new Open Government Data portal, the total amount of data is of level 3, a fact that shows an attempt for better publishing format quality. Also, we have some little data of level 4 and of level 5. Open government data may provide notable means for generating economic and social value, as well as promote transparency. The aim of our study was to evaluate the format quality of open government data of southern EU countries. According to our results, Italian Open Government Data portal has achieved the best format quality of published open data among the 4 examined countries, as the highest percentage of open data are of level 3 or more. And Italy has a good amount of level 4 data. Spain has also made a significant effort in data format quality as well as in data volume, but lacks in level 4 data. Greece and Portugal's published open data are mostly low-level data, that is of level 1 and level 2. Almost 83% of the Greek and 64.6% of the Portuguese datasets are not machine readable. However, Portugal's government portal provides a significant percentage, 29.02% of medium to high quality data, that is level 3, trying to upgrade data format quality in many datasets. The Portuguese and especially the Greek government should try to enhance OGD format quality to increase the economic and social value derived from the data analysis. As we have mentioned before, only machine-readable data are valuable. This research has a few limitations given that it examines only data format quality without examining any other perspective of OGD overall quality. Although several statistical analyses exist on examining the concept of open government data, in terms of their adoption degree, availability, accessibility, reusability, volume, and format, there are not any separate studies about open government data format in the context of the Mediterranean Southern European countries. That is Greece, Italy, Portugal, and Spain, the countries that we have examined. Given the lack of research, especially in Southern Europe, it is interesting to examine the situation concerning open government data format in the above-mentioned countries, which are not among the most digitally advanced countries. Thus, we suggest Future research to be conducted in order to provide analysis of OGD format quality of all EU countries, as well as the southern countries, southern European countries, and further research so as to examine OGD data quality and OGD policies in EU countries. Thank you for your attention. Have you got any inquiries, please?
Thank you, Ms. Papachristou, for this interesting presentation. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay, may I ask a question, please?
Sure, of course.
Okay, what kind of software do you use to access all this information?
Well, the portals,
or the open data, the open data,
the open data on the
these data
portals
sets.
are free. The only thing we needed in Greek government portal and in Spain's it was to get an API access key, which was very easy as long as it was for educational and academic reasons. After obtaining all data, just use Excel and SPSS to have to
manipulate the data.
Manipulate
Okay.
the data so as to have some statistical analysis. The difficult part, the very difficult part, was to find out for some not so much known formats where exactly they can be classified, because there is not a very extended reports, I could say, about this thing. For example, when it comes to GPS maps, it's almost level 3 or level 4, but in some cases they were just scanned maps, so we cannot say that they are something more than level 1. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from the audience? Okay, let us proceed the next session. The next talk is from research team from University of Western Macedonia, Mr. Hadjiioannidis Kosmas, Ioannis Antoniadis. It's presentations about storytelling archetypes in gamification. Please, Mr. Hadjiioannidis, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone.
You may share your screen, full screen.
Is it visible?
Okay, you may proceed. Thank you very much.
Greetings, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Allow me to introduce myself for a second. I am Kosmas Hadjiioannidis, a postgraduate student from the Department of Science and Technology of the University of Western Macedonia and a political scientist. And the paper that I'm going to present to you focuses on the application of storytelling archetypes in gamification. It's an honor to be here with you, even in a virtual presence. However, if we were to meet, what we would discuss, we would all share stories, because that is what we have been doing as a species for thousands of years. The writer, Jonathan Gottschall, claims that we are the Homo fictus, the great ape with storytelling mind. We tell stories to inspire, to entertain, to socialize, to educate, and of course, to sell our products. We do not know the origins of stories. Other researchers claim that stories were always a way of making sense out of life, as they provide us with reasons and ways of things happening, while others consider stories to be just an effective way of remembering. From times when men could not write, they had to rely on their hearing in order to remember information. The only thing that can be said with absolute certainty is that they are an integral part of our identity. The true power of stories, though, according to Plato, is that they can shape our character. He wrote in his famous work, The Republic, that a republic of justice would create good citizens by telling them the appropriate stories. But the question we find ourselves asking is, Do appropriate stories create good citizens, good customers, or good trainees? In the digital world, we use gamification techniques more than ever before to inspire the desired behavior to our customers, trainees, or students. Our goal is to transform boring activities into interesting ones by arousing the imagination and the motives of the participant. Therefore, we create an experience to guide the player into game-thinking behavior that will bring us, the narrator, the proper measurable results. This experience needs to be immersive and meaningful in order to appeal to our audience. Therefore, we do not only use game mechanics, badges, or leaderboards, but we also tell a story to give our players a sense of epic meaning, a sense that our players are doing something bigger than themselves, as Yokai-Chu has said. The magic of video games is that they have the ability to connect us with our ideal self. However, it has been argued whether players are happier when they play with a version closer to themselves or as a character that doesn't have any similarity to their personality. Be that as it may, digital worlds allow us to exceed the limitations of our personalities and discover more about ourselves because of the possibilities they give us. What makes digital approaches and video games so powerful is interactivity, as they enable more than one senses. Therefore, a story is perceived in multiple ways and hijacks our brain, to say that playfully. Before we proceed in gamification or the creation of a story, we need to carefully consider the needs of our audience, because people relate and give anthropomorphic characteristics to anything as an attempt to explore or express their own identity. And they will bond emotionally with a company that represents their own beliefs. According to Holt, brands become icons by creating, promoting, and representing their own myths. They use hero archetypes in order to appeal into certain groups of people and thus become relatable, iconic, like embodiments of ideas and culture, same as superheroes or iconic personalities of history who represent something bigger than themselves, with examples of Superman, who represents the good in the hearts of people, and Martin Luther King, for example. In America, the most accomplished companies have adopted successfully the rebel archetype to create their cultural myth for their audience, such as Nike, Apple, Volkswagen, or Mountain Dew. To summarize that thought, we need to tell the right story to the right audience in order to inspire the desired behavior, the way we tell little children the fairy tale of the Red Riding Hood, so in order to protect them from strangers. To create the right plot, we find ourselves choosing one of the 7 basic plots that, according to Brooker, are inescapable when we tell a story that I'm going to briefly explain them to you. Overcome the monster. Kill the dragon, save the kingdom, win the princess, be a hero. Rags to riches. You need to mature so you can take your throne back. The quest. Cast the ring into the fire of Mount Doom. This is your quest to save the world. Voyage and return. Survive in a desert island, adapt into the circumstances, overcome the challenge and return home. Comedy. Everything is going to make sense somehow, an absurd and fun situation. Tragedy. The fates don't want us together and we cannot change that. Rebirth. You have a second chance on life. Don't waste it. Archetypes originate from a common source of memories and feelings that, according to Jung, is called the collective unconscious, and they are repetitive motifs of primordial feelings that consist every story, even in different cultures, in different countries, in different periods of time. The main character, who is going to be referred in this paper as a hero, is the embodiment of our hopes, fears, and dreams, and we trust upon them an allegorical situation to solve our problems here on Earth. According to the most recent studies on hero archetypes, these are the most common character archetypes. The hero, a courageous character who saves the day, like a knight. A rebel, the rebel, someone who fights against injustice, like Robin Hood. The innocent, a character that exhibits happiness and innocence, like a child. the jester, otherwise called as trickster, a bringer of joy, like Loki, the everyman, a grounded, reasonable common person, the wizard, a very wise character who pursues knowledge, like Gandalf, the creator, someone who builds meaningful objects, the ruler, someone who creates order from chaos, like Arthur, the explorer, a free spirit who wishes to explore the world, the caregiver, a mother who protects at all costs, or the lover, someone who inspires love and will do anything about it, like Romeo from Romeo and Juliet. So let's proceed to examine how gamification and advert gaming case studies approach storytelling according to their goals, the plot and character archetypes they choose. First off, we have Louis the Game, an advert game created by Louis Vuitton to celebrate their long history and engage to their customers in a playful and rewarding way. In this game, you play as Vivienne, the brand mascot, and adopt the explorer archetype as you explore fantasy locations inspired by famous cities like Paris or London to reach festivities that celebrate the birthday of Louis Vuitton. The plot uses the rags to riches archetype as you start with a basic bag and you progress into the game. And as you progress into the game, you earn virtual currency and special materials so you can customize and upgrade it to become a luxurious and exclusive Louis Vuitton bag. In your journey, you will learn the history of Louis Vuitton and you will also be rewarded with free NFTs that you can use as you please. The archetypes used in this game tap into the player's desire for personal accomplishment and success, and it aligns with the brand's luxury and exclusivity. And at the same time, Louis Vuitton has the opportunity to educate their customers by teaching them their history, thus creating loyalty and strong connections that get even stronger with NFT rewards. Next, we have Axie Infinity. Axie Infinity is a game where you have to raise, breed, and lead fantasy creatures called Axies. As you progress through the game, you can breed and combine different Axies to create new and more powerful ones. Along the way, you face challenges and obstacles such as competing against other players, and you earn rewards. The ultimate goal of the game is to become the best Axie trainer by winning as much as possible. The plot uses the hero's journey archetype, otherwise called Overcome the Monster, as you go on an adventure to face trials and emerge victorious with handsome riches. In this game, the player can adopt 3 character archetypes: the hero as the battle to become the ultimate champion of the game, the wizard as the open world of the game allows players to interact with each other and share their wisdom, and the trickster, otherwise called as jester, because of the humor and the playfulness of the game. This game uses blockchain technology as it is partially owned and managed by its own players and rewards them with cryptocurrency as they play. The hero's journey archetype in the plot taps into the player's need for adventure, success, and reward. Next, we have Duolingo. Duolingo is a popular attempt on the gamification in the fields of learning and practicing a new language. It has more than 55 million registered users, and it depends on short daily lessons that will create a new habit for us to practice and finally learn a new language. It also uses competition with badges, leaderboards, and rewards, implementing the hero's journey archetype. However, the story here is not that obvious to be observed. The game has successfully adopted the needed mechanics that make it fun and engaging, but there is a lack of story, one might say. And speaking from personal experience, I just stopped using Duolingo like many others did because I wasn't able to remember much of what I have learned. I believe, though, that implementing another character archetype into the game will make it more successful and help players use Duolingo for longer and learn more efficiently. Most of us learn a new language because the culture of another country inspires us and we dream to visit that country sometime in the future. The game could recreate virtually famous monuments of countries and let us explore them while testing our language skills, allowing us to combine a meaningful story with the language we're learning, making our memory more powerful as stories are 22 times a more powerful way of remembering information than any other. Last, we have Wendy's Feast of Legends. This is an analog attempt of gamification built according to the model of D&D. It is a role-playing game that enables players to customize their champion and make their own choices while fighting evil. Therefore, it uses multiple character archetypes as players have the freedom to choose their own fate. It adopts the hero journey archetype to the plot because the players fight to defend the beef skip against the evil of Ice Jester. They fight in battles, they defeat monsters, and they get rewarded. This advert game, which is a personal favorite, has great potential in digital form. Just imagine a group of friends using NFC technology from their phones to live an adventure together in an interactive and immersive way, fully using the capabilities of RPG games. This is just a table to see that the hero's journey is the most famous and most used plot archetype. However, in the future, we might see even more plot archetypes being used. To conclude our presentation, the literature suggests that digital forms of storytelling, especially with the rise of blockchain technology and the empowerment of online communities, have become more hero-centric, as the needs of self-exploration and self-expression have risen. At the same time, it seems that narrators have lost their place as the only creators of story, and there is a need for the audience to participate in the co-creation of the narrative and value. In the digital era, the hero appears to be more important than ever, as we have the capabilities to create fully immersive and meaningful experiences to motivate and inspire the player. People have always craved for immersiveness, escapism, emotions, and fun. Game mechanics are just a tool, but the real essence of the game is our story, as it is the soul of our game, the soul of our organization, or our educational system. This paper is just a part of my ongoing thesis, therefore I showed you only a few studies. However, we have examined more than 10. Furthermore, gamification has lost its popularity, not completely though, but there is not that much enthusiasm going around like 2012 when it was at its peak. However, there are a lot of possibilities with the number of people playing games rising to 3.5 billion in 2021. Also, the rise of blockchain technology and the empowerment of online communities creates new opportunities on the co-creation of narrative and value, as people think in stories more than ever before, and they have way more ways to express their own opinion. There are some selected references, and I humbly thank you all for your attention with a panel of Miyamoto Musashi, an inspiring hero and personal favorite of mine, from one of the best Japanese mangas ever written, Vagabond. Thank you all. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask them.
Thank you, Mr. Hadjianidis, this rather interesting presentation. Are there any questions from the audience? I have one question, please.
Of course.
What's your opinion about the decreasing popularity of gamification in the recent years?
Well, according to Gartner Research Group, most companies adopted gamification, but they failed due to poor design. I believe storytelling is the lack of storytelling is one of the reasons, as people think metaphorically and allegorically for many things in their life, and they try to find their own identity in products and brands, as Holt has said. I believe also this has roots to the problem of UI and UX design, especially in 2012 or before, because we didn't have much experience in designing video games and apps because smartphones were on the rise still. However, now on we have the knowledge and the technology to create amazing and really helpful apps. So I'm optimist about the future of gamification.
Thank you, Mr. Hadjianidis. Are any questions from the audience? Okay, let us proceed to our next presentation. Is from a research team with Professor, sorry about the not saying right the last names, Vuti Tatsoti, Ms. Zansman and Mrs. Sita Jan. It's talk about collecting hash code to verify block data, the case study of blockchain's gambling. Please, Mr. Ponkbist, you have the floor.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
If you would like to.
Okay, wait a minute,
Okay,
please.
everything's okay. You may proceed. Thank you very much. No, we lost your presentation.
It's on here. It's okay.
Okay, thank you very much. You may proceed.
Okay. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pongpisit Witiditachon from King Mongkut University of Technology, North Bangkok, Thailand. Today, I would like to present our research in correcting hash code for verifying block data, case study for block data gambling. Okay. In this research, consists of 4 parts. The first part is introduction, second, research methodology, next, result and discussion. The last is a conclusion. Okay, as we know that the blockchain really used in real world today, and also blockchain is applied to gambling industry also because of it help to ensure fairness, transparency, anti-counterfeiting, and security. Then when blockchain applied to online gambling, all cards are encrypted by SHA-512. In this research paper, present a method for correcting the hash code. Here we call announced code of all cards. It will be used to predict the card point or plaintext. We call card point code that will be open in the future. Everybody in gambling, they will know announced code, and then after they get the card, they will know the result, or we call card point code. The research methodology, the blockchain gambling used here, we use the blockchain demo for this research study. In online gambling, the point of all cards will be encrypted in advance. We call announced code, and then it will be revealed to the player to prevent cheating from the dealer. We call early announced code. When online gambling is finished per time, the cards are solved with the pre-encoded data of each card. Then the player will know the value or the point of the card we call card point code to guarantee gambling transparency. Here, everybody will know early announced code, and then after they get the card, they will know the point by card point code. The card point code consists of 2 elements. The first element is data. There are 2 digits. For example, this card, the value is K, and also here is D. Then the value of the data is KD. And also there are symbol that here at the 3rd position. Next, there are the nonce, about 48 digits. The nonce is the random value to make difficult to predict the card value. Then here is the guard point code. The guard point code will review just only for the player who he get the card, but everybody in the game, they will receive the early unknown code. The early unknown code come from guard point code encrypted by SHA-512 as this example. Normally we have the guard point code here. Everybody in the game, they will know the early unknown code. The early unknown code come from guard point code, and then the guard point code will hatching by use SHA-512, and everybody will get the early guard point code. Here, an example here, everybody will get the early guard point code, early announced code. Then only the player who get the card will know the guard point code here. And the guard point code consists of two parts, as I mentioned at the moment, the value of the card, and then the dash symbol, and then the nonce. The nonce or guard point code will be hashing by use SHA-512, and then this example of the blockchain we use in our study. And then the blockchain, for example, if we see this card, the card will link to the previous card. The previous card here, if we see here the hash value of the card starting from 5BF9, and then the previous card of K is 5BF9. And also, if we see here the 10, the card number 10, the previous card of this 10 is B990 here. Then this is the characteristic of the blockchain. The methodology we use to reward the process of case study blockchain gambling. In this research paper presents a hash code storage method, which will store the unknown codes and guard point code into the database. The database will be used to win the game from the case study of blockchain. When getting the hash database, a player in gambling game will find the unknown code, but that normally everybody will know the unknown code. Then the player will get the guard point to be used to win the gambling. It begins with generating the guard point code in the first sequence, and next sequence generate the unknown code from the SHA-512 encoding. Here the example in the real world, when we try to generate the database, it is impossible for now, because if we use the nonce value for 78 characters, we have to use storage approximately 400,000 petabytes. That is really huge. But in our research, then we just try to reduce the number of nonce from 48 to 5 characters. Then it used the database storage around 1 terabyte and taking around 140 minutes. Okay. The first image show the real world in this study, that we see that approximately there are 51 characteristics. Then it take too much storage. Then we reduce the nonce here from 48 characters to 5 characters, and then we can correct all the data for guard point code and the unknown codes together. Use only 1 terabyte. And as I mentioned, at the moment, it is really difficult to have the huge storage around 400,000 petabytes. But if we reduce the value of the nonce from 48 to 5 characters, it just only allow 1 terabyte. Then if the blockchain used in the gambling or in the real world, if the text is too short, then it not protect the data in real case. The conclusion for this study, this is a paper present hash code collection from cryptographic hash on the blockchain applied in the gambling industry as a case study. The blockchain gambling is applied as its proof gambling transparency to player. However, the blockchain can be baked out if we use the input too short. Finding the guard point in advance is challenging because it requires a lot of storage resources. Non-value content in block data can always increase and decrease from the configuration we use to switch the resource used in research model experiments. In summary, this research paper can prove that using the blockchain technology play a role in proving that transparency is useful, and it is hard to find reverse plaintext data. However, we can do the reward, but in fact we use the brute force method to do it because it cannot reward from SHA-512 to the plaintext now. In this research, we use the brute force methodology to do that. For future work, we will study the blockchain as on the collaboration between the gambling industry and the payment of online payment in the form of cryptocurrency in the gambling market, where there are challenges in finding vulnerabilities and fraud in parts of digital ledger that track all transactions in the game to ensure fairness, security, and transparency. However, in this study, we use the blockchain gambling as our case study. However, we do not support online gambling industry. We just interest in the blockchain technology used in this example only. And thank you for your attention. If you have any question, you are welcome.
Thank you, Professor, for this interesting presentation. Are there any questions from the audience?
Okay.
Yes. Page number 12.
12, okay. This one?
Yes, 12.
Yes. Okay. Oh, sorry. I forgot to share the screen. Okay, please wait. Okay. It's okay. This one?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
okay.
Yes. So how did you change the, like you said there are like 48 characters to 5 characters?
Okay, 48 and reduced to 5 characters.
So what is the background of that? Like any mathematical model?
Okay, in fact, in this study we use okay. In this study, we use the blockchain demo from MIT, and in this source code we can download from the GitHub, and then we can setting the parameter of nonce reduced from 48 to 5 characters. And in fact, as I mentioned at the moment, if we use in this case study, if we use 48 characters for nonce, it takes around 400,000 petabytes. And to prove the concept that if we use the brute force, if we use the input too easy, or we cannot break the SHA-512, but if the input is too easy, we can break. We can use the brute force method to break the SHA-512. Okay,
Okay, okay. Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, there are any question?
Okay, thank you very much. Now it's time for our next presentation
Yeah.
from Mr. Shinosuke Yazaki and Professor Michael Cohen. It's talk about audience participatory music performance system featuring hand gesture interpretation.
Okay, thank you very much.
Please,
Goodbye.
okay, thank you very much. Please, you have the floor, Mr. Yazaki. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Yes. I have to prepare some, so please wait a second.
Okay, we can see your presentation. Please proceed. We don't hear you here online, unfortunately, Mrs. Yazaki. I don't hear you. Mr. Yazaki, there's no sound for us that are online viewers. Sorry for the online viewers. We have a problem with the sound of Mr. Yazaki. We don't hear it at all. Unfortunately, we have problems with the sound from the on-site presentation. We keep on seeing the presentation with no sound. Thank you.
矢崎さん、聞こえません。
Unfortunately, we have sound problems with the on-site presentation for the online viewers. We don't hear sound. We see the presentations that there's no sound. Thank you.
Yes. Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. We didn't have a sound from the start of the presentation.
Because from Zoom?
Yes.
Yes. Just no. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You may proceed your presentation, please.
From first slide.
You can continue. You can continue your presentation from here. Okay.
Yeah. This is a system schematic diagram to achieve the goal of the research. Audience members gesture to camera open and close their fist at any time during the music performance. The action is analyzed and ball spawn on screen when the fist opened. Balls always bounce in the correct timing with the music, and sound effects comes out. Next, I talk about development. This is systems architecture diagram. First, performer plays music on digital audio workstation, what is called DAW. It is Ableton Live. And Unity Ableton Link plugin in Unity Engine get tempo and beat information and used to determine the timing of the ball bounce. The audience's gestures are analyzed by Python code running media pipe hand detection processing. And it sends coordinates of the hand in window and data of hand state to Unity via UDP. And finally, Unity render ball bounce visual effect using all data and output to screen. Ableton Live has a function called Ableton Link, which enables sharing tempo and beat information with other applications, and it enables bidirectional rewriting of tempo or beat data. And Unity Ableton Link plugins makes it possible to use that function within Unity. It can get data for synchronization from the plugin instance in the C# script. In my project, tempo data and beat data was used. Next, I will talk about detail of the gesture control. Image recognition library, MediaPipe, provided by Google, was used to obtain the coordinates of the hand on the screen and to receive the data of whether fists are closed or not from the camera. These data are encoded in JSON format and sent to Unity C# script via UDP. The time until the ball hits on the floor can be obtained by subtracting the time when the ball spawned from the time of the next beat. The gravitational acceleration of each ball is modified to hit to floor on the time. This formula was derived from the free fall formula. The bounce velocity from the floor is calculated for the bounce after the ball touches the floor. This formula is derived based on the vertical throwing formula. So now I will show you a live demonstration. Please wait for a while. This is a Ableton Live window, and it can play the sound. Ooh. Okay, and on terminal, the application, Python application runs hand detection. Like that. It sends the information of the coordinate of fist on the screen and whether fists are open or not to Unity. Then run the Unity application. The generator position controlled all the audience on the audience members' fist like that, and the fist opened, the ball bounce on the timing music like that. Then go back to presentation window. Okay. Next is a discussion and future work section. First image recognition doesn't work when in the dark places. Live performances are often in dark places, and this problem needed to be strongly improved. Second, the visual effects lag behind the music due to processing delay. It is speculated that this is due to the speed of communication algorithm and drawing speed. Third, it takes time to process when the number of hands to be recognized. Recognition of 4 or more hands was heavy load. Fourth, this system is not general purpose. If different interaction is needed, it cannot easily be implemented for new production. Conclusion, we could develop a system that synchronizes with music and allows visual and audio effects through gesture control. However, there are many areas that need to improve, such as operation in dark areas and latency issues. In addition, this system is not general purpose, and it is necessary to consider an easy to use design for new development. These are future work. First, to make image recognition compatible in dark places, we will test using an HDR camera to adjust the brightness of the video, or test an infrared camera. Next, we will build a more user-friendly framework. To make it easier to create new productions, we will develop image recognition processing inside Unity. Finally, we will explore more intuitive visual expression that are suitable for the music. We need to think of intuitive interactions so that anyone can participate easily. Here's references of my study. That's it. Thank you for attention.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Yazaki, for this interesting presentation. You can leave the song, it's okay. Are there any questions from the audience?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Are there any questions from the audience?
Yes.
Here it's not. No.
No. So sorry.
From here, it seems like no questions.
Okay.
What about Zoom?
So can I stop sharing?
Are there any questions? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Yazaki, for this presentation. Now it's time to proceed to the next and final presentation from research team with Professor Yadav, Gala, and Verma, entitled How the Metaverse is Going to Shape the Next Generation of College Education, a Vision for the Future of Higher Education. Please, you have the floor. Mr. Yazaki, I want to ask you to stop sharing the screen. Okay, thank you, Marit. Professor Yadav, you have the floor.
Yep, give me a sec. Yeah, good evening, everyone. George, can you see the slides? Am I audible?
Yes,
Is
yes,
it
very
fine?
much. Yes,
Uh,
thank you. Please proceed.
Thank you so much. Have a very good evening to everyone. In this work, me with my co-authors, I am Janardhan, who is presenting today. With my co-authors, Deepika and Professor Srinivas, we are trying to visualize and map like what metaverse may have for future of higher education, how higher education can start leveraging as much as possible as soon as the metaverse technologies evolve. So I will start with the kind of environment we are living in. We are living in an environment where global unemployment rate is around 7 to 8%. Problem for governments. At the same time, you may hear discussions going around. There are many institutions, though there are some really good institutions which provide really good employment to the students, like placement opportunities in the college. But still, there are so many higher education institutions which do not provide a good return on investment to the students. It means they end up taking huge educational loans, paying lots of fees, but not getting a good job or irregular placement or regular job for a longer period of time. It is also reducing the zeal to attend colleges. Some students in some countries are delaying their education. Some are just finding other routes to learn things, right? At the same time, when we look at the industry, there are many companies which believe that there is some sort of on-the-job training required. Many of the college students are not ready to work when they are directly coming out of the college or finishing their undergraduations or post-graduations. So we need to do something to make them more job ready out of the college. But to solve many of these issues, one of the reasons is because of the unemployability is because kind of education systems that we have, and at least I'm sure all the countries are doing their own efforts, but underdeveloped countries, developing countries, there is a long way to go to gamify, leverage upon the technologies. Even if you say affordability of the technology is not that. That's one of the reasons, but I hope in coming decade, definitely these technologies will become affordable for everyone. If we look at the development levels today, Facebook's Horizon Workrooms, Altspace VR from Microsoft that was extensively used during the pandemic times by many of the education institutions to organize some of the academic activities, outside classroom interactions. So yes, metaverse has so many possible applications in future that we'll discuss in coming slides. Though when it comes to metaverse, there are different ways people define it. There are different ideas of like people have for metaverse in their minds. There are 4 different types of metaverses, technically speaking, that we can think of. One is augmented reality. Second is live logging, which is about doing things and showing things that you do using supporting devices like cameras, microphones, and others can learn from that activity perhaps. Mirror world, like the environment that we are in, where we can see the things happening in the classroom if we turn around the camera. So mirror worlds and virtual reality. So these are 4 different kinds of metaverses that can be applied to higher education. So we are living in, and definitely those COVID-19 pandemic times where everyone was in higher education forced to switch to online mode of teaching or hybrid mode of teaching, technology assisted teaching, whatever way you want to think it. But yeah, it was a global phenomena which has at least, I would say, expedited or made it quick that this adaptation of technology for education. So we are living in an environment of greater familiarity and acceptance for remote and virtual platforms in higher education. And we have to rethink. It is not just the pandemic and the habits that we have learned during those times, but in addition to that, there is, I would say, for almost a decade by now, there are so many opportunities for creating livelihood or earning your livelihood through internet, which is I teach and I find my undergraduate students really fascinated around it, like microblogging, creating small e-commerce websites, and video logging, vlogging, creating YouTube videos, content creation, creative writing. So there are so many available opportunities which attract the students a lot if they are not into that stream, but still they are maybe studying, say, literature or philosophy. Even in those kind of classrooms, there will be a few who are really fascinated by these kind of alternative opportunities which are available. Other forced reasons are some of us have moved into or adapted to work from home situation. Some of the families maybe not in a situation to send their students back home. COVID scare is back, so that is again challenging us. So we need to understand how socio-ecological perspective of higher education has changed, how the lifestyle of the students have changed. Maybe some of you might have also experienced that. If you ask the students to write 2 pages using pen and paper, or scribble 2 page, or say 1 page itself, it's really tough for them. So there are different skills that they are good with, and how they make sense of their world is also changing. So there are change in their lifestyles, there are changing options or opportunities for livelihood, 2-3 income revenues. That is a very commonly accepted norm today, and people want to not just go for a routine job, but to also make monetize their hobbies which they have. So we have to think a broader socio-ecological perspective, lifestyle changes, and the livelihood opportunities the students have to keep regular college education same, like with appealing in the same fashion or same sense perhaps. And there are at the same time technological advancements in the fields of metaverse. So there are so many prospects that you look further. So what metaverse is and what all kind of technologies we have. A few of the things I mentioned earlier, like I thought I'll just explain further. So either we can augment whatever the situation or scenario is, or we can simulate the environment. It can be very intimate to the end user or the students and the faculty. Say, for example, video logging, live logging, whatever you are doing, just people like, say, a professor of surgery doing a surgery that is telecasted, and the students at some other end of the world may be seeing those videos, or just interaction is also possible these days with those videos. So they can learn around, zoom around, turn around the videos, and they can understand 360 videos, how the things are happening around. Or we can create virtual worlds, mirror worlds, which are definitely, all of us know it, and the mirror worlds we have used extensively. Or we can augment the reality, say by zooming in, using multiple colors to show, say, human anatomy, or maybe layout, architectural layout of a building. So there are so many opportunities. So in summary, augmentation are the technologies that layer information into our perceptions of physical environment. They may enhance it, add additional colors to it, bolden it, add shadows, and so that it becomes far more clearer to understand the specifics. Simulate that model, or say model the exact reality. Intimate, like the technologies which are focused inward on the identity of the user, action, what they are doing, say individual professors or the students, and technologies that focus more towards showing the outside environment rather than focusing on the particular activity. So that's how it's a bit different. Um, so um, there are different kind of things that we need to focus on. I'll just quickly skip on from this slide. Say for augmentation, we need interface and networks. For intimate life logging kind of thing, that's make interplay of identity and interactions. And for simulation, there's interplay of models and immersion. Sensors and everywhere is needed for augmented reality. So that is the kind of things that we need. We move further. If I hope most of us know Kolb's learning style model, which is pretty old, but pretty much is still in practice when it comes to teaching and learning. And that is Kolb's learning style model. So even if we look at that, the understanding was always there to experience things, and that helps in learning. Say there are 4 pillars to Kolb's model. One is, say, a reflective observation, like active. We can start from active experimentation, where you do the things and learn at your own. Then, like trying out what you learn in the classroom, application of the theories. To do this active implementation, we often give questions, ask, say, case-based questions or case scenarios to see how they can implement their theories they have learned. Concrete experience, they get it when they do the things in their corporate environment in the field. Reflective observation happens when they think about whether they have done, which is end of the learning cycle, or say one end to the learning cycle. Once they have done the things, and then they reflect and think back, internalize the learning through all this activity. So a metaverse can be used for understanding, not just for active implementation, even for abstract conceptualization and reflective observation, because of the 2 important aspects which a metaverse provides. One is hypertemporality, which means that there is no need of you being there in that environment. So we can create a digital twins, and there are certain experiments like earth.io which are trying to map our earth, and you can buy a virtual real estate, say, in particular locations. And because when like more and more users are there and they spend more and more time there, there is a possibility of finding potential customers there. So companies are advertising. You can buy those spaces, and you can do the business as usual as it happens in the real world. So that is a digital twin that it can be attempted for universities, for hospitals, for everything. For universities, because that is the top concern that we have. For higher education, we can create real-time teaching scenarios, say creating a lab environment, a lathe machine in virtual world, teaching, say, mechanical engineers how to operate a lathe machine rather than having a lathe machine in actual. It helps to create a very immersive and learning environment for the end users. And the true hypertemporality will definitely become a reality when VR headset or the devices are easily accessible to everyone, but still those who are still using it, definitely it is a hypertemporality, because you can also create your avatar. That's a bit of difference, mixed reality versus a true metaverse. You will also create your own avatar. You can walk around, say, for example, the mirroring kind of environment which we have as of now. We are connected through our laptops, our mobile phone, like our cameras and the microphone. We can listen to each other, we can talk to each other, we can ask questions. But if it was a hyper reality kind of environment, metaverse environment, then we could have created our own avatars. We could have walked together. We could have walked together in the conference venue itself. If it was a metaverse. created metaverse for the university spaces. So truly hypertemporality is possible because the students' virtual avatar can also work around in their places of interest. They can go to different classrooms, sit around, they can go to the library, they can pick up book, and then they can even read that book in that virtual environment. So hypertemporality is something that can be built. Second very important aspect is the interactivity. We had a presentation on gamification as well. So definitely it was always a challenge to keep the learners engaged. And there's a strong interactivity through VR games, learning via playing, right? So these kind of environment helps to gamify things, and interaction in the environment is real, in that virtual environment is really high. You can, and it's very immersive. We'll talk about as we go further the problems with this kind of immersion or immersibility of these techniques, and that is the reason some of the people are not like keep finding issues with it about whether it will tinker human health altogether. But yeah, I'm very optimistic about its good uses. So teachers can design a complete set of interaction and activities. So there is a virtual environment where the teachers and the students are, their virtual avatars are coming together. They are doing certain things and learning the things together. Then for evaluation, assurance of learning is a big challenge for all the higher education universities. For assurance of learning, a teacher, rather than creating a typical question paper and asking them to write down or type down answers, we'll create a challenging environment, which could be a game, in which the student or the person who is appearing for the exam need to do things in the virtual environment, with like in its avatar, do the things, and we can create a whole lot of ranking system. We need not do a normal say distribution of the grades and put a few students in certain classes. Rather than we will have an opportunity for themselves to compete in the game, show their learned skills, and it will definitely be a clear-cut would say indication of assurance of learning. We taught something and the student has been able to show it, perform it, and definitely when it has its implication when it comes to employment, and when they go join an organization, they are ready to do the work which they have already learned in a simulated environment. So metaverse technology gives two very important things, and we have really two important things to offer. One is virtual interactive environment and a very high engagement and freedom to experiment experiment and devise their own learning styles. Say, for example, if there is a virtual environment in which the student comes in, they may learn the things by failing, by not following a proper way which was taught. Perhaps they may fail, they may do hit and trials, and perhaps they may devise their own way of learning rather than just one regular way of just following what is being taught. So different students can have different learning styles. So yes, they can take their own jolly time, whatever time they need to learn. So definitely it has far more implications for assisting the learning, actual learning in the student. Coming to like this was the background of the technological environment and possibilities of the metaverse. We need to understand.
Professor Yadav, please conclude your
Yeah,
presentation.
coming.
We have about 4 minutes. Thank you very much.
Sure. So I'll just take a few moments, but like in a minute, I'll just try to conclude. If you look at the ecological system models of higher education, this is the something microsystems that I was dealing with, like I was talking about, that we have to understand the microsystems of higher education experience, lifestyle, and livelihood, and we try to map it all like at these intersections of higher education and lifestyle, higher education and livelihood. There's the interaction point, and lifestyle and livelihood. We try to map what are the demands and the resources what is the role of metaverse, and what are the challenges and policy issues for industry leaders, civil society, current and potential users of those technology. Say for higher education and lifestyle, it provides work from home, work from anywhere culture and its acceptance. Metaverse provides digital stars, interactive environments that takes up the need to move to the college and offices for both faculty and staff, like officers, students. The challenges that we have to think about while we are going further, how to include accessibility and inclusion, because not everyone in the strata of population would be able to access it, may have means to access it, and affordability. Then, so inclusion is something which we need to think, because the work environment would be changing. We need to think about protocols for students and employees, cyberbullying and intellectual property protection policies, for the intersection between higher education and livelihood. There is a strong need for expert workforce out of the college. And we need to reimagine identifying the deliverables, measurements, and promotion of higher education employees. Same goes for the students to graduate out from the college. And for lifestyle and livelihood, we need to think about emotional well-being and physical well-being efforts and the policies. Thank you so much. I'll stop here.
Okay, thank you, Professor Yadav, for this beautiful presentation. Are there any questions for the audience? May I ask one question, Professor?
Sure.
I'm wondering, in your opinion, what are the dangers of using the metaverse in the life of students, specifically in the higher education students?
Yes, there are issues with their well-being. That's really important because of its immersion and people spending too much time with this technology. It may drastically reduce their physical interaction with other students. The sports environment which the universities and colleges provide, that would be gone. And perhaps the cooperation, those and the capabilities, the team affinities that that happens in the physical environment may also be a problem. So definitely there are challenges to let it go unchecked.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay, thank you very much all. That's concluding our session for session 8, topics of determinant of technology. And I'll pass the breakout to the General Chairman, Professor Roy. Thank you all for your participation. Thank you very much.